Alright, welcome back to the channel, everyone. It is time, once again, for another comic book showdown. For the month of December, I'm doing something a little bit different. I am going to be looking at different comic books that have featured in some way, shape, or form a Christmas or holiday story. Kicking off this week, we are going to be checking out The Incredible Hulk, number 378, in a little bit of a Christmas story here, where he takes on the most requested villain of all. Who is this? We will get into that in just a second. But this comic book is going up against none other than Superman. Apparently, this was a one-shot, and it is from 1940, Superman's Christmas Adventure. I did say it is from 1940, so let's get into the tale of the tape. Alright, sticking with Superman's Christmas Adventure. Like I said, this was published originally back in 1940. It was written by Jerry Siegel, and the art is done by Jack Burnley. Not a lot of information for the any other, like the letters or the colorists. I don't know if they were keeping real detailed track back in 1940. This was obviously just a couple years after Superman debuted and kicked off in Action Comics. And so by this time, I think he's already starting to get, or is very soonish around this time, he's going to be getting his own radio show. Then comes the TV, I believe it's the animated Fleischer. Is that how you say the name? I can't remember. But the Fleischer animated shorts. And then there comes the TV show, I think in the either late 40s or early 50s, something like that. But yeah, Superman's kicking off. And this was a fun little story. But on the other side, we have The Incredible Hulk. The Incredible Hulk, issue number 378. This was originally published in 1991. Now, you would think that these comics are both, for like kids, but this one was a little bit more maybe for like teenagers. Anyways, getting back to the information on this tale of the tape. Yes, like I said, 1991. The writer for this issue was Peter David. The penciler was Bill Jaska, and the inker was Jeff Albrecht. This was a fun little issue, but like I said, it did have its, I wouldn't call them risque moments, but definitely more risque if you're trying to give this to a 5-year-old as opposed to maybe a 13-year-old. With that being said, let's get into this issue first. The Incredible Hulk, number 378. So this issue kicks off with some type of a kids hospital that's going on. There's some teasing and some roughhousing going on. One kid's teasing another guy, calling him fatso. And so it's basically it's a tale. It's a tale being told to the kids by none other than Rick Jones. Rick Jones kind of settles these kids down from roughhousing, teasing one another, and tells them that this is the time of Christmas, a time of cheer and joy, and to listen to this story that happened, that he saw happen with the Incredible Hulk. What it starts off with is, I guess the Rhino is down on his luck, having hard times, sleeping in an alleyway. It looks like he might have been originally been holding some type of bottle or a liquor bottle in a brown paper bag, and they just change that up so it kind of blends together with that burlap sack he's wearing. But anyways, this is Rhino is not having a good day, and he's really mad. He can't get the stupid Rhino suit off him, so he can't go and do anything. He can't be with anybody, anything like that. He comes out and he tries to talk to these other two bums that are, by a fire in the alleyway, and they just run away scared. And as they do, the Hulk is out there, and Rhino sees him, but he hides real quick, so he doesn't want to get into a big fight with Hulk. He just wants to be left alone. He wants his life. He wants a good Christmas, and not to be in this Rhino suit, at least for Christmas. So what he does, he runs away to not confront the Hulk, and he sees this Santa Claus that's out in some type of mall or department store or something like that. He jacks the Santa Claus suit because, why not? Evidently, this must have been a huge Santa Claus because the Santa Claus suit fits Rhino in his big old Rhino suit, and the Santa hat fits over the top of his head, so he hides the Rhino horn. Obviously, Rhino being Rhino and being a bad guy, he's trying to blend in, play the part of what the Santa was doing before, but his natural instincts come out, and he's trying to get people to donate, and they say he donated, and he gets mad, donate again. So anyways, he's trying to play the part, he's trying to be, innocuous? I don't think that's the right word I'm looking for. Inconspicuous, and, trying to hide out and not draw the attention of anybody. After going inside to this mall or this department store, whatever it is, yeah, he continues to play that role of Santa Claus. He has the suit, the hat, and the fake Santa Claus beard, and all these kids are going around and they're just basically annoying the crap out of him. And he's just like he's yelling at the kids and telling them to get lost and telling them they're greedy and all they want to say is give them this and give them that. So yeah, he makes a big kerfuffle out of how mean apparently these kids are when they sit on his lap thinking he's Santa Claus. As you can see from this page right now, here we go. This kid says, "I think you're a really crummy Santa," and Rhino replies, "Ask me if I care, man. I need a drink." So this is the first inkling of what we'll get to in a little bit. This issue, you think Santa Claus, you think Christmas stories. I don't know about you, but at least for me, I think, kids stories, good for little kids who like Christmas, an all ages story. But yeah, this issue, I would not call this issue all ages, as far as it probably is better for kids. If you're going to give it to kids like ages 12 and 13 and up. Any lower than that, you might be running into some issues where they don't understand things and they ask you, what does this mean? And we get into some sexual innuendos in a little bit in this issue. So it's kind of lighthearted, but at the same time there is some I don't want to call it adult talk, but there is a few things that need to be explained if you're handing this off to a 5-year-old, I would think. So as the issue goes on, these kids just keep acting up, and all of a sudden Rhino's had enough, and he tosses one kid out into the air, tells him to get lost. And of course, earlier in the issue, we see Bruce Banner hanging out with Rick Jones and somebody else, I don't know their name. They're in the department store, and he's already turned into the Hulk. And so the Hulk catches this kid that Rhino just flung across the store. And now it is on. It is going to be Rhino versus the Hulk. And oh boy, it goes from 1 to 100 in a flash. They start beating each other up, punching. Everyone's running for cover. And yeah, the fight ensues. So switching over to Superman's Christmas Adventure, Clark and Lois are out and about, and they run into this little kid, and they ask him, "Hey, what are you doing looking at the store window here? Just trying to think what you want for Christmas?" And he really breaks their heart. He says, "No, I can't have anything. All I can do is window shop. We're so poor, I can't have any of this." And Lois has this idea. Well, actually, it's Clark, but Lois is sad that it's so sad that the boy can't have any Christmas presents. Clark goes to Perry White and says, hey, they should do a campaign for readers and ask all the readers to donate toys for, all the poor kids, the people less fortunate who can't have toys. Of course, this news makes its way back to Santa Claus, who says, "So I have a couple of new helpers in Clark Kent and Lois Lane. That's fine." So yeah, Santa Claus is, as the song says, taking a note. He's making a list, checking it twice. Who's naughty and nice? It looks like Clark and Lana are on the nice list. Of course, while Clark is out and about, he uses his X-ray vision because he sees he hears something going on, and he sees this little boy being super grumpy and super stubborn and snotty because he's a rich kid and he wants all this other stuff. He doesn't want a silly little toy train. He wants a big old yacht or something. This is going to come back into play in just a little bit. The one thing I will say, starting off with this first page here, is boy, there are a lot of words on these pages. And as you go back and look at old comic books from the 40s, 50s, 60s, all the way up to maybe the early 90s, man, the writers put in a lot of stuff here. And one complaint is that comics today are too wordy. And I don't think that is the right way of describing it, because there are a lot of words on this page. But what happens is the action is conveyed across through the panels, and the writers, the artists take into account what the writer's writing. And sometimes the writers do over-explain everything that's going on instead of letting the artist tell the story part of it. And I think that's why today's comics are too wordy. There is still some action going on here. We have Clark and Lois, they're out and about, they have this idea. We see Santa Claus already early on, and then we see Clark already using X-ray vision. In today's comics, they call them wordy because nothing really happens. It's just dialogue after dialogue after dialogue with no real, it's just a big old dialogue scene with no real action taking place. It can be like a 10-page scene of just two characters talking, and that could be conveyed under just talking heads. And sometimes the artists do switch it up, which is appreciated, but there's no other action to convey. Anyways, back to the story. This got me cracked up because we have Superman changes into, or I should say Clark Kent changes into Superman, goes out and about, and he basically kidnaps that little spoiled rich kid, but does it in a good way. I guess this was, not too big of a concern back in 1940. But yeah, he stops by that rich kid's house and says, "Hey, you're coming with me." "Oh, okay. Where are we going?" And Superman says, "Don't be frightened. I'm not going to hurt you." What he does, he takes this little kid, spoiled rich kid, and he takes him around the city and shows him these other kids that don't have anything. They have this one little girl who has this little broken toy with only one arm. And then we have another little kid who's like crying himself to sleep because he doesn't have anything. And Superman is kind of trying to impart a lesson to this kid, that's saying, "Hey man, you need to knock it off, and you appreciate what you got, because some people don't got nothing." So it's a nice little story that does come into play towards the end of this comic book. But at the end of this page here, what we have is two characters. I think it's Dr. Grouch and Mr. Meanie. So if you didn't know, this was basically all ages and especially good for kids to read, as early as 5 years old. You know it by the time you get to these two characters, Dr. Grouch and Mr. Meanie, just based off their name. And what's their problem is nobody was ever nice to them, so they are basically taking the Grouch's role from Dr. Seuss, the Grinch's role from Dr. Seuss, and saying, "Hey, we never had a good Christmas. You're not having a good Christmas." And they try all kinds of things, but what they start out with first, they try to get into Santa's shop, and all his elves, Santa's little elves, get them out by using all the toys they're using, and basically kick them out of Santa's shop and get rid of them for the time being. What Dr. Grouch and Mr. Meanie end up doing, so they leave Santa's workshop. They say, "Oh, Lois Lane and Clark Kent are writing this story and about this toy drive that they want everyone to help and pitch in, and they're going to stop that." So they then attack Clark and Lois, and after a little while of Clark pretending that he gets hurt and he gets gassed from their exploits, that they run away and they think they've started a fire and they're going to burn the building or burn the whatever. But of course why am I stuck on Lana? But of course, Clark Kent comes to, because he is Superman, and with Lois Lane out, he's able to take out the fire. And of course, Dr. Grouch, Mr. Meanie, they head back to their place, their laboratory, and nothing's happened because Superman was there, unbeknownst to them. So they can't believe their eyes. And as you see here at the end, "What now? We're licked, Dr. Grouch." And you say, "Licked? Not on your miserable life, Mr. Meanie. We will wreck the toy shop of Santa Claus." So they're going to go back to the North Pole, and they're going to try again to take out that toy shop of Santa. This time, once they get back, they do actually get in, and they start wrecking things up. But, of course, Santa has a couple tricks up his sleeve as well, and this time it's not the elves that come to his defense, but he has a bunch of toys that he somehow magically makes come to life. And all the toys attack Mr. Meanie, Dr. Grouch, and they get those guys on their heels and get them running out of the North Pole. Once again, Dr. Grouch saying they've been routed by toys. This is humiliating. This just has so much... this has a lot of charm for how aged the comic is, already like 80 years ago that this was first published. It just has a lot of charm. They've been foiled by Superman, unbeknownst to them. They've been foiled by Santa's elves, and now they've been foiled by Christmas toys. So they are not looking very good in their plots to foil Christmas. But they don't give up. No. They get to their ship. Instead of flying away, they're going to act like they fly away. And what they do next is they pretend to fly away and then come back and steal Santa's reindeers. They're going to foil Christmas one way or the other. They steal Santa's reindeers, and all of a sudden, Superman comes to the rescue. But the reason Superman comes to the rescue is because Santa Claus puts out a radio distress signal. Clark Kent hears that. He's not sure if it's real or not, but being Superman, being the Man of Steel that he is, and the protector of Metropolis, he says he better checks it out. So he flies up to the North Pole. He's able to save the reindeer. Of course, Santa's gonna be able to deliver Christmas toys to everybody. What? No, he's not, because Dr. Grouch is still there, and he sprays the reindeer with some type of sleeping gas and knocks the reindeers out. That's it. The Christmas is over because he's, one way or another, he's foiled Santa Claus, knocked the reindeers out. There's no one to push or pull Santa's sleigh all around the world to deliver the toys, right? Well, maybe not exactly. Before we get to what you can probably guess is going to be the finale of that Superman's Christmas adventure, let's jump back. Meanwhile, in Incredible Hulk number 378, the Hulk and Rhino are battling each other. They're exchanging fisticuffs, one after another, until somebody comes along and says, oh, hey, look, I've got some cookies for you, freshly baked. So they each take a bite. Rhino says, wait, are these macadamia nuts? I hate macadamia nuts. So this was kind of funny. This was kind of a neat little interchange there. Hulk pulls the cookie baker out of the way, and the fight ensues. As we are reading over this comic book and in following the fight that is basically demolishing the entire place, the Hulk actually finally asks, hey, what's your problem anyway? And this is where we come into the part where it says, this might not be for little 5-year-olds. Check out this little interchange right there. As I said, Hulk says, hey, what's your problem anyway? Rhino comes back with, I can't ever take this stupid Rhino costume off. Hulk says, oh yeah, so you haven't had a woman in... Don't you think I know that? Why do you think I'm so irritable? It's like, whoa, this just jumped a little bit. Mommy, look, Santa's flying. It's like, yeah, don't want to give this kid this comic when we got the Rhino and Hulk talking about, not having sex in forever because he has a stupid rhino suit stuck to him. And then here we get this little innuendo that I was talking about. So they just had this little exchange. You change the page. Hulk actually jabs... Rhino actually jabs the Hulk with his rhino horn, and Rhino's like, I did it, my horn penetrated. It's like, what the hell is going on in this comic book? But of course, this is towards the end of this story, and so Hulk is down because Rhino just stabbed him with his rhino horn, and he said, see, he tried to be a nice guy, he couldn't do it. But they wanted the meanie, the bad guy, the villain, so this is what they're gonna get. It looks like he's about to finish off the Hulk there. And then, there's this little kid there, right there. Santa, why are you hurting this gray man? And this little kid with holding onto a little doll, teardrop rolling down her cheek. She kind of cracks the exterior of both the Hulk and Rhino. She's on the verge of tears. She says, my mommy said you were really Santa, but maybe you aren't. Maybe there isn't any Santa after all, and maybe mommy lied. And so you got Rhino suddenly frozen, stopped in his tracks. He's like, your mother, ... she was telling the truth. And Hulk kind of isn't sure what's going on at first. And he says, see this guy? Hulk's like, yeah, this is, I was naughty. Yeah, he's naughty, but now he's going to be nice. So they're kind of like playing it up for the kid. So it does have that little Christmas turn to it that should be for, all ages. Oh, these guys make up for the sake of this little kid to let her believe in Christmas and Santa Claus. And so what we end up with is this little girl pulling a Hulk along, and then we've got Rhino back in the Santa costume with Hulk standing next to him looking very annoyed and doesn't want to be there. And all the little kids telling Rhino Santa what they want for Christmas once again. But of course, it ends with a little bit of a innuendo too. So we got Hulk there and this little lady with a lot of cleavage showing, saying he did manage, this is Rick Jones talking about this story now, he did manage to sneak in a little Christmas cheer. So that's how the story ends for Rick Jones. Remember, this whole story was being told by Rick Jones when he went to visit those kids in the kids' hospital. And how do the kids take to this story? Do they believe it? Do they like it? Well, that doesn't seem like they even care. One kid kicks him in the shin, and they all keep making fun of him and just tell him that They are never going to believe that stupid story. So yeah, this was published in 1991, like I said. So we got that 90s kid attitude that's sparking off, I think, in the early 90s. But yeah, ends with Merry Christmas. So Merry Christmas, Hulk and Rhino. Going back to Superman's Christmas adventure, like I said, the reindeer were gassed out by Dr. Grouch. And so what happens? Of course, you might have probably saw it coming. Instead of using the reindeer, Superman flies Santa around to make sure he delivers all those Christmas toys to all the boys and girls around the world who have been nice. While they're at it, Superman delivers Dr. Grouch and Mr. Meanie through the chimney back to their house. And you know what? Superman, no, I shouldn't say Superman, Santa Claus, you know, he makes a list, he checks it twice, seeing who's naughty and nice. Definitely Dr. Grouch, Mr. Meanie. They were not on the nice list, I would imagine. But you know what? This story really gets across that wholesome Christmas message. Like, that's why I say it's perfect for kids, because they take the Dr. Grouch, Mr. Meanie, they take him back, they put him back, they don't take him to jail, they just throw him back home, tell him to get lost. Superman, he foiled their plans again. And Santa Claus stops by their house. Superman's confused. He's like, what? You're still going to give them gifts despite all the harm they've done to you? And what does Santa Claus reply? Yes, it's the Christmas spirit to forgive your foes. I'm sure there is some good in both Grouch and Meanie. That's the Christmas spirit in a nutshell, basically, right? You try to bring people together, not only your family and friends, but anyone and everyone. You should try to bring them together through the joy of Christmas. And what does Dr. Grouch and Mr. Meanie do if you have your guard up, as I usually do when I see these scenarios play out in books and movies? You know, Santa Claus is gonna do the good thing, and the bad guys are gonna jump right back at it and do the bad thing. No, this is 1940. Santa Claus is being the good guy. He's giving forgiveness to his foes. And so what do the foes do? If you shake my hand, I'll be the happiest man in the world. We promise to be kind from now on. You've taught us plenty. Put her there, Santa Claus says. Merry Christmas, boys. So it's like, man, that's just the Christmas spirit through and through right there. Of course, they did capture Lois Lane. They sent her up in a rocket. Superman saved her, set her down on a rooftop, but then they went and captured her again. They had her stuck in some type of closet, I guess, I don't know, but because they have turned over a new leaf because of the joy and the kindness that Santa Claus has showed them, they let Lois Lane go. And they say, you know what, I'm sorry, Lois Lane, we want to apologize to you too. And you know what, Lois Lane shows that Christmas spirit too. No apologies are necessary. If you've got the true Christmas spirit, I'm satisfied. This is Christmas spirit through and through. It ends with that little rich kid, that spoiled brat who Superman kidnapped, took him around the city, showed all the kids who had less than him. The story ends with that little kid. Superman says, what are you doing? He's like, I'm going to give all these toys to the people who really need them, who I know don't have as much as me. And so that's how the story ends right there. Superman finishes it off. I hope you all remember to be generous to those less fortunate than yourselves. And now, Merry Christmas to you and a Happy New Year. I'm not even going to debate. That takes the cake. This comic book showdown. The Hulk and the Rhino had some cool action in it. Big fight between the Hulk and Rhino during the Christmas theme. But comic book showdown. This is the Christmas edition, and this is Superman wins. Superman wins. Superman's Christmas Adventure is the winner of this comic book showdown because it has a Christmas spirit through and through. Merry Christmas, Superman. I hope you enjoyed this comic book showdown Christmas holiday edition. For the month of December, I'm going to be doing some more showdowns of comic books with different Christmas themes and holiday themes. And so keep tuned to those. Hit that like, hit that subscribe so you don't miss them. Check out the videos that I already have in the Comic Book Showdown series. And I'll see you in the next video.